Hello and welcome back to another episode of FluentCast. This is your go-to podcast for sharpening your listening skills and picking up some fascinating insights. I'm Diego, and I'm thrilled you're joining us today because we've got an incredible story lined up. If you're drawn to mysteries, a touch of suspense, and tales that make you wonder what might be lurking in the night sky, then this episode is just for you. And before we get started, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to FluentCast. That way, you won't miss any of our episodes, especially if you love practicing English while listening to cool stories and learning something new. Today, we're talking about something strange that happened in Arizona way back in 1997. Ever heard of the Phoenix Lights? No? Well, it's one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in recent history. Thousands of people saw these unusual lights in the sky, and to this day, we're still debating whether they were something from our world, or maybe something beyond it. But before we jump into the story, let's go over some important vocabulary for English learners. So you will feel ready for all the new words that might come up. This will help keep you on track. First, you will hear the word UFO a lot in this episode, which stands for Unidentified Flying Object. This is used when people see things in the sky that they can't explain, like mysterious lights. Another word you will listen to is flares, more specifically military flares, which are super bright lights used by the military, usually to light up areas at night. The military fires these flares to illuminate areas or as a signal. We'll also talk about sighting. Sighting is when someone sees something unusual. And lastly, we have the word extraterrestrial, which is a big word for things that might come from outside Earth, like from another planet. All right, with those terms in mind, let's dive right into the story. Okay, picture this. It's a warm night on March 13th, 1997. People in Arizona, especially around Phoenix, are outside, looking up at the stars, enjoying the night. Suddenly, folks start noticing something strange in the sky, and not just one or two people, thousands of people see this. What they see are these bright lights, lined up in a V shape, gliding over the city in total silence. Imagine seeing a giant V or boomerang in the sky, all lit up, just hovering there. Kinda spooky, right? And here's the really interesting part. It wasn't just a quick flash of lights that disappeared. No, this thing moved slowly, so people got a long look at it. Some witnesses even said it was like a mile wide. Now that's huge. Imagine seeing something that massive just moving quietly through the sky. Gives you chills, huh? So, naturally, people started talking. Some were like, it's a UFO, it has to be extraterrestrial. Others thought, maybe it's some secret military experiment. But everyone was fascinated, trying to make sense of what they saw. And remember, this was 1997, so no one had smartphones to quickly snap a photo or post a video. People were just looking up, calling their friends and family, saying, "Are you seeing this?" The phone lines were even jammed because so many people were trying to report it. Then the news picked it up. Reporters were asking questions like, was it a UFO? Was it a government experiment? Or something else entirely? The whole city was buzzing with theories. Now, this kind of thing, thousands of people all seeing the same strange lights, doesn't happen every day. That's what made it so unique. People were both fascinated and, maybe a little scared too. The US military later explained it as just flares dropped during training exercises in the nearby desert. Military flares are used for practice in low light or to signal troops. But a lot of people, they didn't buy it. They were like, wait, flares don't line up like that, and they don't glide silently over a city. So this flare story just didn't sit right with everyone. Was it really flares, or was it something else? Here's where things get intriguing, right? Some people were entirely convinced it was a UFO, maybe even a spacecraft from another planet. After all, if thousands witnessed it, it couldn't have just been their imagination. Others speculated it might have been a government project, a secret aircraft they were testing that wasn't meant to be spotted. You know, there's always that idea that governments keep advanced technology under wraps, but the official explanation remained unchanged: flares. And get this, the governor of Arizona at the time, Fife Symington, even held a press conference a few months after to, calm things down. He actually brought someone dressed in a silly alien costume to make a joke of it. But years later, that same governor admitted he also saw the lights and thought it was something otherworldly. Imagine that, a government official saying he thought it was a UFO. Adds a bit more mystery, doesn't it? Now, here's the part that really sticks with people. The Phoenix Lights incident wasn't just about weird lights in the sky. It made people question, can we trust what we're being told? When so many people experience something strange, something that feels super real, and then they're told, it was just flares, it can make them doubt the official story. People might start wondering, are they hiding something from us? It's more than just a fun story about lights. It's a reminder of how people search for answers. When they don't get answers that make sense, they start to question, everything. So where does that leave us? The Phoenix Lights remain one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in recent history. Even today, if you go to Arizona, you'll meet people who remember that night, who swear they saw something, not from this world. They'll tell you it was a UFO, a giant craft, and that it couldn't have been anything else. And whether you believe it was a spaceship, military flares, or something in between, the mystery of the Phoenix Lights gives us something to think about. It reminds us to stay curious, to ask questions, and maybe even to keep looking up at the stars. After all, who knows what we might see? All right, FluentCast listeners, I hope you enjoyed this little journey into one of modern history's strangest mysteries. If you liked learning about this topic and practicing your English with us, don't forget to hit subscribe. We have more amazing stories lined up, and who knows? We might even explore more strange sightings from around the world. And if you'd like to practice your English even more, check out our one-on-one English lessons. It's a great way to improve, ask questions, and get personalized support. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Keep wondering, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time on FluentCast.